Stephen, that brings us to you. You will take the reins in January, which the new administration will have been in power for about a year. There's certainly a compendium of legislation that could easily affect the way the accounting landscape is. You're looking at potential healthcare reform. You're looking at the cap and trade. I'd like to get your thoughts on maybe some of the things that potentially could affect Grant Thornton here in the U.S.
Well, certainly, as you might imagine, Bill, we're very involved and engaged in much of that regulatory reform and debate that is taking place, not only representing the interests of the profession, but also the interests of our clients. And I think, as you point out, inevitably there will be impact. I think what we would like to see coming out of that process really relates to one of the comments I made earlier, which is the ability for, whether it's the consumer or the investor, to have access to more transparent and easily understood information about products and services and investments and their underlying risk. And I think there's a big opportunity for the accounting profession, for Grant Thornton, to play a role in that, whether it's in actually the crafting of some of that regulatory reform or actually in its execution.
Mm-hmm. While we're on the issues that certainly would have affected you, or you've been involved in them, and you've certainly been outspoken on a number of issues. And Stephen, incoming, I'd like to get your thoughts on, say, for instance, tax preparer registration, which they've been holding hearings on the Hill, and maybe beyond that, the work to repeal tax patent legislation.
Well, I think, first of all, I think that we have a very effective process for controlling CPAs, and I don't think we need any more registration or legislation involving that would impact CPAs, the Consumer Protection Agency that's being proposed. I understand for tax preparers that maybe are unregulated that there should be some regulation out there, but the process that's in place today for CPAs is very strong. Now, are there some ways to improve it? Maybe, I don't know. The patenting, I'm not really sure why we need that. I don't know that there's anything that needs to be patented. We'd probably be opposed to that. But in general, the process that is in place on the federal level, but particularly within the states, to regulate CPAs is very effective, controls the preparation of tax returns, controls the profession in a very solid way. So we would not be opposed to registration of other tax preparers, but we'd be opposed to anything that would put a further burden on CPAs. And it's not just for Grant Thornton, because frankly at Grant Thornton it'd probably be easier to comply with this, but when you think about the thousands of smaller accounting firms out there, that's really where I think there'll be an increased burden, even more so than on us.
Stephen, you would agree with that? Or?
No, I would agree with Ed. I think we're obviously strong proponents of improving the quality of the profession and improving the quality of the service and the product. I'm not convinced, as Ed, that further additional substantial compliance around the registration process is the way to achieve that. I'd rather put the focus on the service and the training and the quality of the individuals and the processes involved in delivering those services. I think that's where there's a greater opportunity to ensure that the quality is being applied appropriately. Mm-hmm.